BS-Free Witchcraft is a production of the Nerd and Tie Podcast Network. Nerd and Tie produces podcasts ranging from actual play to true crime, and you can find more at nerdandtie.com or join our Discord by going to nerdandtie.com/Discord. Welcome to BS-Free Witchcraft, your monthly guide to the modern witchcraft movement. Might as well have the usual, well, bullshit. I'm your host, Trae Dorn, and it is July of 2026, which means it is time for the annual feedback/Q&A episode. I never came up with a good name for these episodes, and this is the seventh time we're doing it. Seventh time we've done one of these episodes, but you know, it is what it is. This is the episode where you guys have written in questions or comments or things you want me to say on the show, and I respond. I do not prep my answers. This is, I have glanced over the questions, but I did not think about what I was going to say, because what would be the fun in that? It's been a heck of a day. It was 100 degrees today. I record these at night, obviously. I used to do these during the day, these episodes during the day, but I've been trying to record them more at night, and in part because it's great in the summer because I have to turn my air conditioner off to record, or else all you would hear is the air conditioner in my studio. So I'm going to be very warm by the end of this episode, but I waited till nightfall for a reason. Of course, even if it were to magically get cool out, we couldn't open a window because of the Canadian wildfire smoke, which is currently why I didn't work out tonight. Because the air quality is so terrible. It's not physically safe to do that, which is great. It's just wonderful living in 2026 and considering the amount of stuff that's going to happen between now and when this episode goes public. Who knows what else has happened? You know, I'm recording this. Lindsey Graham is dead, but Mitch McConnell isn't, which is shocking for many reasons, but not applicable to what we're doing. So let's actually start looking at the questions. Remember, I anonymize these. I take out any references to people's names. Because again, I don't know who's publicly open about what they're doing and who isn't. So we're going to please understand that context. I will be scrubbing these a little bit as I read them. But let's hit the questions for this year. All right. So first question with the amazing subject question. Since you live in Wisconsin, have you ever heard of Circle Wicca in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin? Years ago when I was a teenager, I had experienced some things that I didn't understand. In parentheses, was raised Christian. I had read a book called Cat Magic. In the back of the book, there was contact information for Celine Fox and Circle Sanctuary. I sent her a letter explaining what I had went through, and she wrote me back and welcomed me into Wicca. She gave me a subscription to her newsletter, more like a quarterly newspaper. I have never forgot her or what she did for me. Do you think there's a chance you could have her as a guest on an upcoming podcast? Thank you for taking the time to read my ramblings. Okay, so I'm aware of circles. I live in Wisconsin. Of course, I know about Circle Sanctuary. I've been a witch for a very long time. I am aware of the existence of Circle Sanctuary. I have never been in contact with anyone from there, mostly because I'm a reclusive weirdo, not as a criticism of them at all. I'm just, again, a reclusive weirdo who is talking into a camera in the spare bedroom in their home, talking into a microphone in the middle of the night. So, it's a thing to think about. I'm never against bringing, definitely, the Circle Sanctuary has been around for a while. Like, Circle Sanctuary is a thing I was very aware of 30 years ago. So I definitely I wouldn't have a problem talking to them. I think I would have to have the right angle, the right reason, the right topic, right? Because, this show is very topic driven. Like, when I bring a guest on, it's for a specific reason. Like, I have an angle that we're hitting this with. So, I don't just randomly bring people on the show. So with that in mind, I'm not going to say no to the possibility of me ever reaching out to them, reaching out to Circle Sanctuary to talk to somebody. But I'm also not going to say this is a thing I'm definitely going to do. I'd have to have the right reason to talk to them, like the right topic that we were covering on the show. It all would then depend on how it would work out, because, remember, the show is going to keep going until fall of 2028. That's the finish line. So it would have to be a topic that I'd want to cover within that time period on this podcast. So I'm aware of Circle Sanctuary. I would consider it for sure. There are definitely some perspectives there that are maybe a little underrepresented to the demographics who listen to this show, because while there are olds like me in the audience, I am young compared to some of those people. But I know for a fact that the majority of my audience is significantly younger. So than the people who would necessarily come up in Wicca in that generation of Wicca. So like it would be maybe helpful to, if I had a reason to bring that in, to like, it'd be an interesting voice to expose the audience to. That's true. So I don't know. Hopefully that was a pretty clear answer. So yes, I'm familiar with Circle Sanctuary. No, I don't know anyone from Circle Sanctuary, and I would be open, if we had the right reason to talk, to asking someone to be on the show. Yeah. All right. Next kind of two questions are a little related, but I'm going to still answer them separately. The next question is witchcraft in extreme climates. What advice do you have for witches living in extreme climate areas, e.g. deserts, tropical forests, and places like Alaska, regarding how to celebrate Sabbats and practice daily witchcraft? So we're talking about the Wheel of the Year. In my episode, Change the Wheel, I talked about how, like, you should adapt the wheel to yourself. And so you kind of have two choices, right? Like, so when you take a look at the holidays of the Wheel of the Year, if you really want to, like, celebrate the Wheel of the Year, so the festivals of the Wheel of the Year are either scheduled based on, they are the astronomical season changes, and then the quarter days, the four fire festivals. So you got a couple options, right? Like, so the reason you can either take a look at the meaning of the holiday, right? Like, if Imbolc is about the first signs of spring, maybe you consider moving that to, if you live in a place with multiple seasons, right? Because like Alaska has multiple seasons, it just has a much shorter, colder summer, but it is like, unless you're like in the far, like Alaska isn't Antarctica, right? Like Antarctica, it would be like it's winter year round. Like even in a Antarctic summer, it's winter year round. A lot of Alaska, at least a lot of the populated parts of Alaska, while they have truncated seasons, still have seasons, right? Like, so you might move Imbolc in that kind of environment to when the thaw starts, from the time that's in the calendar to when it actually happens. And that's one way to do it. Right. So like you look at things like, Yule at the beginning of winter, like you move those things to when they're actually happening for you. It's the same reason why we rotate the Wheel of the Year. If you're interested, again, and this is all under the presupposition that you want to celebrate the Wheel of the Year calendar dates, because that's what the person asked. Like they're asking for advice celebrating those, because obviously not every witch celebrates the Wheel of the Year. So I just before anyone gets on me, we're talking about it because they asked about it, and as a person who does celebrate the Wheel of the Year, I at least can offer that perspective. So if you live in a place that does have seasons to a degree, like even in like desert areas, like even though your winter may not be as cold, there is a cooler season. So you could try to slide things around till they better match up with the environment you have. Obviously, like if you're in equatorial space, like it's even that's going to be different. So there's that. There's that solution. You know, move the holidays to when they actually fit into your year. The other thing, now the other solution though is to take a look is where the timing's more important, right? Like if you're really into the movement of the sun, the timing on like the actual like solstices and equinoxes might be more important to you for like the degree of sunlight in your day and things like that. So first off, there's that, right? Like because even if you're in a place that you're not going to see a significant change in the length of your day or something like that, it is still the world as a whole moving. So if you're still trying to connect to the world as a whole, there's that. But also, look, part of the reason why, and the reason I've always firmly believed, the reason why the Wheel of the Year was set up was 8 holidays and not just 4 is because we need a release to go celebrate. And having 8 holidays is a lot more fun than only having 4 holidays. So, like when Ross Nichols and Gerald Gardner were sitting at the nudist party, per the possibly apocryphal legend, they each wanted to do a different set of 4, and they decided to put them together because, again, according to the possibly apocryphal story, gave them more opportunities to have a party. So if you're looking at it instead as these are dates on a calendar, these are 8 dates on a calendar that are roughly equally spaced, not exactly, but roughly equally spaced. Then you change what you're celebrating to what's happening in your world on those calendars. You know what I mean? Like you adapt the celebration to the date, right? What are you celebrating on February 2nd is going to, or, February 1st, February 2nd, or versus what you're going to celebrate, at the beginning of August is going to vary based on like what your world is like. So you adapt the holiday to where you are. If the date's the important part, you change the holiday to what is happening in your moment. And I've spent my life living in places that have 4 seasons. So it is hard for me to like just come up with things. Like I've never lived in the desert. I've never lived. Look, you know what I know about Alaska? I've watched a lot of Northern Exposure, which was shot in Washington State. So I don't know crap. I've watched some YouTube videos. It's like I've spent my entire life living, like I've visited other places. I have traveled to other places, but I have exclusively lived in 3 states in the American Midwest. And so my lived experience is not necessarily going to give me like obvious examples on how you can adapt to those holidays, but I would just say if the date of the holiday is what's important, adapt how you celebrate it to your environment. And if a lot of your holidays end up looking the same, that's fine. Because the point is, it depends on what your point is, right? If the point of the celebration is to connect to nature and like feel connected to that, like obviously you might be having to change your rituals, how you're doing things. But if your goal, and I think personally, I think the most important part of any holiday, be it no matter what religion, what faith, anything, what you follow, the most important part of any holiday is the community that gathers through it, right? It's the shared experience of we are choosing this thing together to honor. And that community is the more important part. Like, throw the party, man. Your Beltane party is going to be great. Beltane bash at your house. I don't care what the weather's like. We're lighting that fire. I don't know. Hopefully that made sense. So, yeah, it's just if you live in an extreme climate area, and if If the dates don't, if the purpose of the celebration is what's important, move the date. If the date's what's important, change the purpose. No one's in charge of you. I say it's not in your head, not in your house. No one is in charge of you. I am not in charge of you. But that also means no one else is in. You are the only person in charge of you and how you do things and how you celebrate and how, like, no one's gonna slap the anathema out of your hands. Okay. And if they do, that's very rude. That's a party foul. Also, it's really dangerous. That thing's might be sharp. don't don't slap a blade. That's a bad idea. But unless someone's coming at you with it, that's not a. If that's happening at your Beltane bash, you've got larger problems than I can solve. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. And I did do that whole episode of Change the Wheel on that topic, sort of. I don't know. I haven't listened to it in a long time, so maybe that was a terrible episode that I should have never made. Who knows? All right, so next question. Connecting with the land when you're on the move. I'm a person whose life's work has me in places for just a few months or a couple of years at a time. Is it possible to connect with every land I find myself in? Should I want to, even with pure intentions? Thank you. Well, first off, I am rarely one to ever say what you should or shouldn't want. Like, with the exception of some very specific fringe cases, I am not here to tell you what to want. I might recommend that you don't necessarily act on every want, but I don't think if you want to connect with the land everywhere, whether you do or not, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting that. I think that's a perfectly normal human feeling. So, like, what would be an impure intention to want to connect with the land? Like, I guess, like, if you're trying to, like, say colonize, like, this is mine, no, but that's not connecting with the land, that's conquering the land. That's not the same thing. Connecting with the land is just feeling connected to where you are in that moment for me. So, like, I don't even know how an impure intention could work there. And the one thing I'm going to say is that, like, it depends on what you mean by connecting with the land, right? So, like, if you just want to experience that connection, just so this is the point where I have to pause and stop myself because I have run out of language for an experience I have. Like, when I talk about connecting with the land and things like that, I'm talking about this, like, purely emotional thing that I, like, feel in the back of my head, and, like, there's a switch that flips, like an understanding, and I don't know how to put that into words. I am realizing, so I just tried to say a sentence, and then when it came to explain it, I blue screened. That's great. You're a really great witchcraft communicator, Trae. Jesus. Okay, so now I'm invoking deities I don't believe in. I don't know. Is it possible to connect to every land I find myself in? Only if you view, like, depends on what you mean when you talk about connecting to the land. I mean, it's one planet, dude. You go down deep enough, you hit the same spot. I think adapting and connecting to your environment, if you want to do that, can be a very fulfilling experience. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. But it is, like, connecting with the land to me should be a very personal thing, right? It should be a moment with you and your environment and the world. Often people talk about this when they talk about, like, adapting the local cultures of the peoples, and that's where we get on weird territory, right? Like, I would never recommend that someone start taking on, like, the rituals of a marginalized group that does not want someone from your group taking their stuff, right? Like, we talk about open and closed communities, open and closed cultures, open and closed practices. Like there's like that stuff. No, but like connecting to the land, like when we talk about that, that can just be a very personal experience where we connect to nature in a place. And you can do that without taking a single ritual or thing from another people. Like you connect to the world in the way that you connect to the world. And the world is the world. The world is not us, right? It is lived in by people who may be its custodians. And that is very true. But it is still itself. And we are not intrinsically a part of it, but we become a part of it when we choose to, right? Like it's, again, I'm trying to come up with words to describe a sensation and feeling that I have never had to actually put into them. So hopefully that made sense. I don't know if I have a great answer, but I will say there's definitely the one thing I can say is absolve yourself from this concept that wanting something is inherently wrong, because it's also not inherently wrong to want things you shouldn't have, because wanting something and doing something are two different things. To want no thought crimes in this house. No thought crimes in this house. You're allowed to want something that even you find that even repels you and you find and you feel revulsion to. You're allowed to want that also. The important thing is that what you do, the actions you take, what we put out into the world is just the actions you take. So, if you feel like your intentions and your wants are not inherently evil, it's so stop it. Stop it. It's okay to want something, even if it turns out you shouldn't do it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't want it. It just means you shouldn't do it. Like that's besides connecting to the land. Just the framing of that question was deeply troubling. So, all right, the next person who wrote in sent me 4 questions in one email, and I'm gonna try to tackle all 4 of these. So I'm going to read their subject and introduction, and then I'm going to stop after each section. And have I read these 4 questions? No, I have not. This gets to be an adventure of us all together. All right, questions for your annual Questions from Readers show. All right. Hi, Trae. I'm a solo atheist/secular witch and have been listening to your podcast for about a year. I have a bunch of random questions for you, so I'm just going to rattle them off. All right. First question. As of sending this message to you, I'm only a few weeks away from my year and a day anniversary of when I did my personal self-dedication ritual. I'm not a Wiccan, but I know that Wiccan practices have bled into the general neo-pagan community, and that the year and a day interval is a good example of that. But where did it come from? Were there any precedents for this arbitrary period of time before Gerald Gardner and Doreen Valiente came moseying along? Yeah, there were. So the year and obviously, I mean, the Wiccan practices bled into general neo-pagan. The general neo-pagan community largely came out of the popularity of Wicca. Don't get it twisted. Like there's stuff that came up separately, but like 90% of like stuff that people talk about is like generically pagan or generically witchcraft. A lot of it came through Wicca. Not all of it. But if they're saying neo-pagan, like if you're saying witchcraft, there's like multiple sources here. But if you're saying neo-pagan, Wicca probably touched it. We can. Oh, I'm gonna have to do an episode on that. So the year and the day stuff comes from. Okay, so I looked this up a long time ago. So I don't have it in front of me. So I'm half remembering things, but it's a pre-existing thing. Like, when you look at like certain Celtic cultures, like Irish culture, like hand fasting is something that you would do for a year and a day. Year and a day also comes through from like I think English common law, but it's legal. It's a way to guarantee that it's a full year. A year and a day means that you have like it's a year and then a day. So like it just so you have surpassed a year. So it is a year and a day. So yeah, there's like a whole bunch of different stuff that a year and a day comes from. Uh, it's just like I don't know if anybody knows I don't know if we know the exact source. I'll have to look it up. This is what happens when I answer questions off the cuff and don't do research beforehand. But I do know that, like, I do know that it's a pre-existing thing. Like it already existed in certain forms of common law and in hand fasting traditions for like temporary marriages and things like that. So where people would like get married for a year and a day and then they'd renew and then they like yeah. So yeah, it year and a day is just one of the many flavor things that yeah, that got brought in because it was setting itself up as a revival of, you know, pre-Christian British Isles. So of course they took it from whatever folklore they could find to mix it up. And yeah, all right. So number 2, I'm still in the new shiny phase of being a witch where everything is exciting. I have ADHD, and doing this definitely feels like a hyperfocus, but I don't like feeling like it's some fad I'm going to get tired of. So what recommendations do you have for finding meaning in pagan practice long term, even after the ooh shiny factor fades? So you're no matter what, you say you have ADHD, but no matter who, like even neurotypical, like I don't have ADHD, um, the majority of witches will ebb and flow with their interests to some degree. Like I'm always doing something, but like how much like regular witchcraft, some people will have dry spells where they go months without doing anything, sometimes years. And that's normal. Um that's fine. Uh like I don't want you to feel like you always have to, like you're not always going to be constantly excited to do this. That's okay. That doesn't mean you're done with it. That just might mean you're done with it for now. I don't want you to like my Book of Shadows, which is here. Like I the what you'll see if you ever if for some reason I ever let you look in this, which is probably never, um you would see the dates on the entries go through like bursts of like me doing a whole bunch of stuff and then stopping for a while in like writing stuff down because like I write down ideas and spells and things like that as I come up with them, and then you'll see a burst of creativity as I write more stuff down and then it stops for a while. Like I think my last entry here is from March of 2025. So the first entry in this Book of Shadows is from 2008. 2008. This is like my third Book of Shadows. So 2008 is when I started this one. Because I only note really important stuff. But there will be times where you stop and it's fine. Like the idea is just keep yourself open, right? Like if you want to keep yourself interested, like if that's your goal, like if you don't want that to wane, I would say just like diversify what you're looking at. Like there are so many spell techniques that you do not know. There are so many pieces of history you do not know. Like I have been a witch for almost 30 years. Right? Maybe 30 years. Oh God. What year? It's 2026. That's wild. I'll have to figure that out. Um anyways, like there's stuff I don't know, right? Like I don't do divination at all. Like I've never done lithomancy, I've never done tarot, I've never done tarot. Do you know why there's never been a tarot episode of this show? It's because I don't know shit about tarot. All my friends know all this stuff about tarot. I've never done it. Um, I do technically own a deck that was a gift that is somewhere in a closet, but I've never done it. So there's always going to be something new to learn if you really want to, but like I'm a humming along kind of witch, right? Like I figured out what I like to do, how what I like to practice, what kinds of spells I like to cast, like kind of like I locked in decades ago. And I do that stuff and I do it regularly, but like I'm not like I tell people like I don't read a lot of witchcraft books anymore. I read a lot of witchcraft books when I started, and now the only reason why I read new witchcraft books is because I started reviewing them for this show. Like I anytime I have if I've read a witchcraft book in the past 8 years, it's been because I was doing something for the show. Because I know what I like to do and I just sort of do it. So yeah, it's um dollars to donuts, you're gonna like have like down periods where you're not gonna feel like you want to do witchcraft, and that's okay, and you let it come back into your life when you're ready. That's just life. So don't worry about it. Enjoy things while you're doing it. And if it turns out one day you won't, great, fine. There'll be a day where it picks back up again. All right. 3. In a similar vein, how do you avoid giving into the consumerist impulse for things like crystals, decks, etc.? Well, first off, my grand secret when I became a witch is that I was very poor. Like I dumpster dived half of my old altar. I don't keep a permanent altar anymore, but when I did, like it was built on like I think it was a Lexmark printer box was what I used, and like um the altar cloth was the cape from a childhood Halloween costume. Like stuff has like it comes from like I scavenged all that. Like I had no money. The way you avoid spending money is don't have any. Um I learned how to do stuff without a lot of stuff, and then I got comfortable doing stuff without a lot of stuff. So now I get to look all egalitarian, like, oh, so you spent all that money on all that stuff? Oh, I didn't need that. I just did that with my little scrappy set of things, and I can be my little witchcraft nomad when I need to, and toss my ritual stuff in a bag, and you know, I keep a book of shadows that I can fit in the back pocket of my jeans. Uh, okay, the story behind this is that it was a gift from my sister when she was on vacation in Italy when she was in law school, and she bought me this as a souvenir gift, and that is why it is my book of shadows. That's it. I was poor. I remained poor for a very long time. That is how I resisted the consumerist impulses, and then I got past them. How I resist the consumerist impulse is also just by being cheap. Be poor and be cheap. That's how you resist consumerism. I don't know. Shiny stuff is fun. I get it. I get it. Shiny stuff is neat. But what I will say is that when here look, if you see the neat shiny thing and you want to buy it, just repeat to yourself, I will only be buying this because it is shiny. Not because it will make me a more effective witch, not because it will make my magic better, not because it will have any real benefit to my life other than a shiny thing. If you still decide you want the shiny thing, that's fine. Like, no judgment, but respect that you want the shiny thing because you want the shiny thing. Don't bullshit yourself. All right. 4. This is the last part of this person's question. Last part of the email here. So much of neo-pagan practice is based on reconstructions of ancient Celtic traditions, but my background is Slavic. Do you have any recommendations for good resources about Slavic paganism and folklore? Note, please don't just do the knee-jerk thing and talk about Baba Yaga and Rusalkas and Firebirds. That's mostly Russian, and I want stuff that is more southern, i.e. all the countries that Yugoslavia broke up into. As a person who is partially Croatian, My family comes from the Dalmatian Peninsula. Uh, I'm also German and Swedish, but I am Croatian actually. Um, I don't know because I don't know shit about it. I don't know anything about. I know barely anything about Slavic folklore. That's just the God's honest truth. Um, because I am like half German and a quarter Swedish. I went hard in on like Norse and Germanic stuff when I like was like because I'm not remotely Celtic. Like I'm not. No part of my ancestry, as far as I know, came from the British Isles. And we've got my family tree going back to well past the Middle Ages on my mother's side. And so, yeah, no. But I went full in on Norse because it's really accessible, and that is a huge part of my family's background. So I did not look further into Slavic stuff. I'm absolutely no help there because I literally don't even know where to start. Like if I don't even think I could do an episode on it well enough. Like I don't think I could do well enough covering it if I did an actual episode and took like a month to research and do all of that because it would take well, it's not that I couldn't, it would take me more than a month or two to prep that because I would be starting from zero because I don't even know what Rusalkas are, and I know that's Russian, what you said, but like, I don't even know what that is. So. Not every witch knows everything, and while I know a lot of stuff, I do not know Slavic folklore. I should probably learn Slavic folklore. I am part Croatian. My grandfather, who was very proud of being Croatian, is probably rotating in his urn. And honestly, I don't give a fuck. I do not have pleasant memories of that man. But and all of my family's traditions are largely Swedish. So like yeah, all the generational traditions of my family come from my Swedish ancestors because they were the dominant part of the Larson sisters. Kind of forged a lot of the family traditions a couple generations ago, and everyone else just got in line. So yeah, all my family stuff is I'm a quarter Swedish, but like all of my family traditions are all dominated by that like Swedish part of my family. Does not matter. It's um and I'm equally Swedish on both my mother and my father are a quarter Swedish. So like when I say I'm a quarter Swedish, it's like my parents are roughly the exact same proportion of German and Swedish as each other, which is weird if you think about it long enough, but only my mother's Croatian. Because my grandfather was half Croatian. Yeah. Anyways, that just I just told you a lot about me and did not help answer your question. Sorry, but that was the end of it. You said thank you for my time. Thank you for listening to me ramble. So there's that. All right, now let's get into some beefy stuff here. Intuition versus anxiety. All right. I've been casually learning about witchcraft off and on for a few years now, and I see a lot of talk about intuition, specifically listening to it. I've always struggled with this, but the way I've heard other people talk about it is pretty heavily based around gut feelings and subconscious thoughts. Might be preaching to the choir here, but as someone with anxiety, almost every gut instinct I ever have is wrong. I have to live according to opposites if I want to function, so the aforementioned descriptions are not helpful to say the least. Do you have any workarounds for this? How vital to witchcraft is intuition, really? Any related thoughts? Thanks so much. Apologies if you've covered this and I missed it. So I actually have generalized anxiety disorder. So I can 1000% talk about this. So, magical intuition for me is different from my anxiety. Like, so here's the thing, and this is something that like therapy really helped me with was understanding the liar in my head. Um those anxiety feelings are really specific. So think about it this way. So anxiety is about what you're repulsed from, right? Like it's you do the feeling to run away. And like that's gonna suck because that does remove some like level of intuition. Like you can't just like your intuitive notion to run, like if you haven't really honed down and worked the steps, like so I'm not currently medicated. So when I have like an anxiety fear, there is the thing where I work the steps, where I break down the logic of a situation. And um right, like, is this a rational fear? What is the reason I am feeling this way? Is this because just a matter of control? Is this a matter of what? Is like what am I actually afraid of in the situation? And then I go into what is the worst thing that could happen in this moment, right? Like what is the I say, okay, I'm panicking. What is the worst thing that would happen? What is the worst thing I can imagine? What is the absolute worst? And then I go, okay, what would I do if that happened? Like, oh, so 9 times out of 10, like I'm freaking out. Like I used to, it took me a really long time to go to a bank. Like I am far more functional at 45 than I was at 21. Let me tell you. Um, it used to be really hard to function. Like I couldn't go to a bank, right? So like, I go, okay, so what's gonna happen? Like the worst case scenario is that the teller thinks I'm an idiot. I don't have to see that person again. Like, um, the worst thing that happens is it just takes longer. Okay. Oh, and the people there all judge me and think I'm dumb. Okay. At the end of the day, I'm gonna go home. So right, so like you can if you step through. So if you're looking at like intuition for what repels you, it is really hard, right? Like you can't like because after you work the steps and you break down the logic and like if you can't find a reason to be legitimately fearful of a situation, you do it anyways and push through the anxiety and retrain your brain, right? Like because part of the big thing is retrain breaking those bad habits and not listening to the anxiety. That does not mean you cannot work with intuition, right? This is why my protection game is on point though, because my shields and protections are very good because I am not good at being able to I would not be good at differentiating like this is my anxiety telling me to run away or this is my like intuition telling me to run away. What anxiety's not going to fuck with though is my being drawn to something. Right? Anxiety doesn't draw you towards things. So while it is harder to like deal with anxiety for like the get the fuck out of there intuition, like eventually I will say if you work through your anxiety long enough and you work through it and you like there is a degree to which like not all repulsion is anxiety, right? Like the what I call is like the alarm bells for some people, like this like a person being creepy or manipulative or things like that, like you can hone those and learn from that intuition, and that's being repulsed by something that isn't necessarily making you feel anxiety, right? Like so it's you just can't take any fear-based stuff at face value, but anything that else like that squidgy feeling, which is different than being scared, like that squidgy feeling of like something's up with this dude, like that kind of intuition you can develop. But also like things you're drawn to, like I want this thing, I need this thing, I need to do this thing, is not the same. Because again, we're not talking like because we're talking about anxiety, we're not talking about compulsions or OCD or anything like that. I am not a mental health professional. Um, so like if you find yourself being drawn towards things that you think are a bad idea or irrational, talk to a mental health professional, not Trae. But like so like when I'm doing like magical stuff where I'm trying to hone my intuition, pull myself towards something positive or something like that, I am listening not to what I am repelled from, but what I am drawn to. And that is a piece of intuition that anxiety is not going to fuck with. Right? Because you're not framing things about what scares you. You're framing things about what you like Frame your intuition based off of what you intuitively desire, not what you intuitively fear. Because we're broken on that fear part. There's a part of our brain firing too much shit, and that's not helpful. But that doesn't mean intuition's not a thing. So yeah, you just can't use the part that anxiety fucks with, but that doesn't mean there aren't other parts of what intuition means. And, again, therapy is really helpful. And as long as you're dealing with it and working through stuff, that's good. I'm rooting for you. All right, next one. All right. Listener questions is the subject. I'm very interested in witchcraft and have done little things like spells I made up as a kid. As an adult, I'm so cautious of doing things the wrong way when it comes to spellcrafting or engaging in spiritual matters. Do you have advice for someone like me who is so into witchy things but is too terrified of practicing it, like accidentally causing something bad to happen? Thanks. Love the podcast. All right. So first off, every spell that's ever been done by any witch ever is something that some person just made up on the spot one time. Every single one. So why aren't yours good enough? Why isn't the spell you made up good enough? So when we talk about spellcraft, it's important to remember there are different paradigms for how we think spells work. I am a person who believes that intention is a core part of what we're doing. I am an animist where I believe that the only reason why salt works as a component, like when you take a component like salt to work, is because we've convinced the salt to work. I'm wacky. All right, so I know how weird ass my shit sounds when I say it out loud. That's why I don't say it a lot. But your spells are as valid as anything you find in any book, and the stuff in the book is just something that some guy came up with at some point. Some person, some witch at some point had an idea and they did it, and maybe it worked and maybe it didn't. As if worrying about something bad happening, I'm just gonna tell you, none of us are that powerful, right? You're not gonna end the world. We're nudging stuff. We're nudging stuff more than anything else. So at our most effective, we're nudging stuff. So I believe that intent is important. So if your intent is not to cause the bad thing to happen, the worst thing that happens with your spell is that it won't work, right? Like, if the bad thing's not part of the intention of the spell, in the way that I view magic, again, because this is not universally agreed upon, but the way I view magic, intention is a part of it. So if that doesn't mean every spell, like, intention isn't the whole thing, but it's an important component, right? The intention is an important component to the spell, and so you can't make it do if you're programming a computer and like your code is your intention, right? You're trying to program a calculator app for a program. You need, that's your intention, but you need to have installed on the computer. So say you wrote it in Java, right? You need to have a Java runtime environment installed on the computer. You need to have a power cord. You need to have all these other things to run the program, right? So your intention is the programming, but all the other pieces are what make the magic happen, right? So it's maybe not a perfect metaphor, but it's the one we're flying with, right? Your code is never going to do anything other than be a calculator. Whether or not you can run it on that computer and it works, that's fine. But that code was still just written to be a calculator. So, mix things up. Try your shit. I think, Trae personally thinks that as long as you are doing that you're not going to cause something bad to happen. You just might cause nothing to happen. Your worst case scenario is nothing happens, if I'm right about how magic works. And I think I'm right about how magic works, so everyone should just believe me and say Trae is right all the time. Or at least lie to me and say that, because, I don't know, it's the middle of the night when I'm recording this. Anyways. So yeah, don't be scared. Fuck around and find out is actually kind of fine here because, again, and there are people who are purely like, think components are the whole thing, the ritual is the whole thing, and do all of that. And I don't know. I can't ever put myself in that mindset. So I will say not everyone's going to universally agree with me on this, right? But I agree with me. And I'm the one who got asked. So we're going with my paradigm. There's some people who think intention's like the whole thing, and like all the ritual is just like all the materials are just superfluous. Like, so it's like this is a spectrum in many different directions of like how we think magic works. And so I'm just going to say, go for it. Try. Screw around. You're not gonna look. I just guarantee you that the worst thing's going to happen is that your spell does nothing and you waste some spell ingredients or something. Don't worry about it. Just do your best. There's no reason why your spell, like, there's no reason why you can't be the witch who stumbles onto something more effective than what other people have been doing. Like, that's just the short and long of it. All right. Moving on to my next question. Question. Will you be able to have Brina Guerin on again? Is she doing okay? You had some other good guests on. Will there be more? Well, will I be able to have Brina Guerin on again? I'm not the best person to answer that question. Bree, will we be able to have you on the show again?
Gosh, I don't know. We're all so busy. Yes, of course. Here I am. Hi. I'm okay. I'm good. Everything is fine. Thank you guys for caring. Yeah, I know I've been kind of incommunicado for a while. Life has been lifing, but I am all right. New job, husband's fine, cats are great. Things are going good. It's just been I've been living outside the computer more than I used to. But yeah, it's all good, and I'm super happy to be back here once again on this fabulous show.
Yeah, and Bree, it's if you want more Bree, don't worry. Bree is going to be on the entire August episode. So next month you guys will get plenty of Bree.
Hooray!
Because we are finally going to do an episode about practical magic.
Yay! The movie, not the actual practice.
But also the movie, not the book.
Yes.
Because I have not read the book. But so yeah, so you will get a whole episode of Bree again in August. I promise. All right? There. As for like other guests, thank you, Trae, from the past, but also the future. As for other guests, yeah, I'll probably have other guests on. Yeah. I don't know. Y'all, you have to understand, I maybe, most of them being hyper planning on the show, I'm thinking maybe 2 months in advance. I'm a busy person. We're lucky I get this show out every month. And that is the questions for this year. And as I just said, be excited for next month because Bree and I are doing our review of Practical Magic finally, because Practical Magic 2 is coming out not that long after that episode's coming out. So we're like, oh god, I gotta finally review Practical Magic. So that's coming next month. Me and Bree talking about Practical Magic for quite some time. And I recorded that episode before I recorded this episode. I recorded that episode before I recorded this episode because I had to work with like availability for people. So, yeah, it's been a fun time. Thank you guys for sending stuff in. I just want to tell you, everyone who wrote stuff in, if I didn't read your question, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep this like around an hour. But thank you everyone who sent stuff in. I appreciate all of you. I do want to thank everybody who contributes to the Patreon. If you want to support this show, we have a Patreon. It is patreon.com/TRAEGORN. That is my general Patreon. So it's not just this show, but it's lots of stuff. But I especially want to, but you guys make up the vast majority of my supporters. I took a poll. And I want to thank people at the $10 level of Lindsay Dosey, Claire Dennis, Pamela Stariak, Eldrick Gamble, and Badass Babe. For only $1 a month, though, you get episodes like this a whole week early. And then there are some other tiers that get you some other benefits, like access to ebooks of mine, because I'm also a writer. In fact, actually, I should mention I'm a writer that I do have a new book coming out. The Perfect Host, which is the 5th book in the Mia Graves saga, which is a queer urban fantasy series that I write. It is not real. It's not regular witchcraft. It's not real witchcraft. It is magical, fun, pretend witchcraft. And this book comes out August 10th. It is available for pre-order right now on Amazon and bookshop.org and everywhere that sells books. It's a great time to catch up on the whole series because it's book 5, and there are 4 books before it that you could read right now, starting with The Witch and the Rose. But anyways, only plugged it a little this time, and probably won't be plugging again for, well, no, I'll be plugging next one. I'll be plugging for a while. Anyways, but I gave you content around it. Don't worry. I will say that patrons at the $10 level get all those ebooks when they come out, and patrons at the $5 level get ebooks a year after they come out, although we might be changing some of those tiers soon, so watch out. No one's losing benefits. Some people might be gaining some benefits. If you don't have any money and want to support the show, first off, still sign up for the Patreon because you will get there's a free tier that costs no money that you'll occasionally get some news from me. So it's a great way for me to, if you want to find out, like if I'm appearing at an event or something like that, that'll go out. Those messages will go out to the free tier of my Patreon. So if you want to keep up on that stuff, do that. Besides that, if you want to support me and just follow me on social media, I am on Tumblr. I am traegorn.tumblr.com. On TikTok, I am at traegorn. On Blue Sky, I am traegorn.bsky.social. And if you want to follow the show on Facebook, it is facebook.com/bsfreewitchcraft. Do not try to find my personal Facebook page. That is where I talk to my mother. And then, of course, all things me on the internet can be found at trhonline.com or tradorn.com or tragorn.com. All three go to the same website. Because for reasons that are boring. But so that you'll find everything I do there, like whether it be comics I write, other shows I host, blog things I write, books that I write, all that stuff is all centered there. It's kind of my central home and hub on the internet. And remember, this podcast is part of the Nerd Type Podcast Network. You can listen to more podcasts like this, but also shows ranging from actual play to true crime to to Breeze Garen's currently on hiatus Witchcraft show, Pax Positive. All that at nerdandtie.com. You can listen to Casual Trek. I think it's a great show, which is a show about Star Trek from people who are only who are Star Trek fans, but not mainly Star Trek fans. And they're very British. I don't know. It's a thing. You can listen to that. You can listen to Ask a Medievalist by E.H. featuring E.H. Lupton, and it's good. It's good. You can nerdandtie.com, and if you want to talk to me directly, we do have a Discord, and you can find an invite for that at nerdandtie.com/Discord, and we have a forum at nerdandtie.social. It's pretty quiet, but if you post something there, I guarantee you I will see it with my eyes, and I will read it. Everything posted to our forum or our Discord, I see. I see it all. Anyways, my chickens, thank you so much for tuning in for yet another month. We have a really exciting episode next month, too. So remember, dirt in our fingernails, brick in our hands, and I will talk to you all next month. Peace. The world's a nightmare, but, we're getting by.